Hi guys, this is Annette from Simple Life with Ann, and today I want to share 4 recipes using traditional spices that I have used or have grown up with in my own home. So today I'm going to show you how to make a roast pork shoulder. I'm also going to show you how to make lazy man lasagna. I'm going to show you how to make arroz con pollo, which is rice with chicken, and a traditional arroz con gandules, which is rice with pigeon peas. So first I'm going to start off with the lazy man lasagna. So I have some ground beef, some sweet pork sausage, and some spicy pork sausage as well. So basically I am just adding some water because it helps to break up the meat. It's easier for it to fall apart as opposed to having me use a spoon or the spatula to try to break up the pieces. It kind of helps out with the process. So while I'm doing this, I actually have a pot of boiling water, and I have some penne pasta boiling in the pot. Basically, I just followed the instructions on the box. I think it's for like 11 minutes. You boil the pasta. So this isn't your typical Italian lasagna. I'm actually using some Caribbean or Hispanic spices. Like I'm adding the adobo, the garlic powder. I'm also adding some Italian seasoning just to keep it true, I guess slightly true to the recipe. And I'm going to add some sofrito to it as well. Sofrito is basically a blend of cilantro, onions, garlic, bell peppers, olives, the olive brine, and olive oil, and I put it in a blender, and so I use it to cook my beans, my meats, my stews, and it's really delicious. You'll see me use that several times in this video.
Break down all your memories, feel the things you wanna feel, yeah.
I also added some parsley. I forgot to mention that.
Watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. We got everything we need, right? Watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me, yeah. We got everything we need right here.
So once my meat is fully cooked, I am going to add the jars of pasta sauce, marinara sauce. Now, because I seasoned the meat so well, the pasta sauce is kind of going to absorb some of the saltiness. You have to be careful with Spanish herbs and spices because they can be very salty. But the tomato sauce is actually going to help with that, as well as mixing it with the actual penne and all the other ingredients that I'm going to add to the lazy man lasagna. So this is the lazy man part of the lasagna. As you can see, I am not using traditional lasagna noodles. I am using the penne pasta, and I have made enough to fill 3 lasagna pans. That's why I had so much meat. So basically what I'm doing right now is I'm adding the meat sauce to the penne pasta, and I am just mixing that up and incorporating that meat sauce throughout the pasta. Because I am making 3 lasagna pans worth of Lazy Man lasagna, I bought 1 large container of ricotta, and I added mozzarella cheese to it. I added some Italian seasoning, some parsley, and I even added a little bit of garlic powder in it. So what I did was I evenly divvied up, and I am mixing that into the pasta. So now I am ready to put it in the sheet pan. You could see how cheesy it is because of the mozzarella and the ricotta. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to top it off with some more of that meat sauce on top. And then I'm going to end it with some shredded mozzarella cheese. And then you're done. Once you're done putting the mozzarella cheese on it, all you have to do is cover it with foil, stick it in the oven at 325 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes. You can also freeze this and take it out for dinner at any other time. Just remember that you have to thaw it before you stick it in the oven. So I'm actually excited to show you this next recipe, and I'm so bothered that I lost some of the footage. But here I have some cute boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and I have it seasoned with the adobo, garlic powder, sazon, and I even added the sofrito that I added to the ground beef when I made the Lazy Man lasagna. And to that pot, I have some avocado oil, and I'm just kind of cooking the meat, the chicken, a little bit. And right now I am adding about 5 cups of white rice that I have washed, thoroughly washed till the water ran clear, into that pot. So now I'm going to add some water to it. So the rule is if you add 4 cups of rice, you should almost double the water. So if you double it, it comes out a little bit mushy. So what I do is for like 4 cups of rice, I add about 7 cups of water, maybe a little bit less, maybe like 6.5 cups of water, because I don't like my rice to be completely mushy. And I'm gonna put that in high heat and boil it until the water evaporates. Once the water evaporates, I put the heat on the lowest setting and I cover the rice and let it cook itself in the steam. And this is the outcome. The rice is cooked, it's beautiful and yellow, and the reason why it's yellow is because the actual sazon is what gives it its yellow color. You can also use, I believe you can use your own type of food coloring, like annatto seeds, but I use sazon. So now I'm going to show you how I cooked my pork shoulder, or how I roasted my pork shoulder. So I use adobo, I use sazon, I use fresh garlic, minced garlic. Guys, I mince my own garlic, but you can buy yourself a jar of minced garlic. And I also put the mojo criollo, which is that bottle that's right there. It's like a mixture of orange juice and lime juice and oregano and a cup and some seasoning. And what I'm doing is I'm seasoning the garlic and I'm adding all these ingredients. Now you might think that I'm a little crazy because it looks salty, but remember, this is a very large pork shoulder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some sort of a paste, and I'm going to use that paste with all of that seasoning, and I'm going to put that inside of the pork shoulder and on the outside of the pork shoulder. So if you look at the pork shoulder very well, you'll see that I had pierced it with with a knife. So basically what I did was I poked large holes in it, and I'm going to add the paste, or put the paste inside of those holes to kind of season the inside of the pork shoulder. So what I'm doing is I'm adding some more of that mojo, and you can add your own orange juice and lime juice and oregano. I just did it the easy way or the lazy way, but I've also done it the traditional way, where you actually, have orange juice and lime juice and you add that with the garlic and all the other spices. So what I'm doing right now is I'm poking more or making more large holes, and you'll see me, it looks like I'm feeding the pork shoulder, but I'm actually seasoning the inside so that all that flavor gets incorporated on the inside, because that is a huge hunk of meat. So guys, roast pork, or as we call it, pernil, is usually used or cooked during a holiday, a birthday, or special events. My family was craving this, so I just did it. Plus, it's well worth it if you do it on the weekend, because you're gonna have so much meat left over. But it turns out delicious, and trust me, I don't eat this all the time. Once or twice a year, we roast the pork, and like I said, it lasts a few days because you can make sandwiches with the leftovers. It's so delicious. After you're done seasoning, you're gonna cook it low and slow at 275 degrees from anywhere from 5 to even 7 hours. The longer you leave it, the juicier it will be. So now guys, I'm taking the roast pork or the pernil out of the oven, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to collect all the drippings out of the pan, because I'm going to use the drippings to make my rice. Yes, you heard it. I'm going to make rice with the drippings. It is so delicious. It is absolutely unhealthy, but like I said, this is a once or twice a year type of thing. So I'm collecting all the drippings because, like I said, I'm going to use it for the rice. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait a few minutes until all the fat rises to the top. You know what happens with oil and water? Oil rises to the top. And then I'm going to collect the oil, and instead of cooking my rice in regular avocado oil or canola oil, I'm going to use the actual fat to cook my rice. So there you see me gathering the oil, skimming the top of the drippings, and basically the drippings, it's almost like the equivalent of like chicken broth, only this is like the broth that comes out of the pork, and it has all of that delicious flavor from the seasonings and the actual pork. So what I do is I add the oil to a pan on the highest heat, or a pot, and I add the sofrito. Now after adding the sofrito, I am adding pigeon peas. So I have some washed white rice, which I'm also going to add. I have 3 cups, and I'm only going to add 1 packet of sazon because I only want it for the color. There's enough flavor in the drippings that I don't need to add any more salt. I'm just doing it for color purposes. So after adding the rice, I'm going to mix it. And like I said, the rule is if you have 3 cups of rice, you can double that and add 6 cups of water. But like I said, I don't like mushy rice, so I am going to add about 5 to 5.5 cups of water, if anything. Or the drippings, not water. Doesn't that look amazing? So you're going to boil that on the highest heat, and when the water evaporates, you're going to put it on the lowest setting and cook it in the vapors once covered for about 20 minutes. And then you shall see what this rice looks like. I did forget to mention to return the roast pork back into the oven at 450 degrees for about 30 to 50 minutes just to get that skin extra crispy, but the inside is absolutely juicy. You can even put butter on it to make it extra crunchy. So this is what the pernil looked like after it was done, and this is what the rice looked like with the drippings. I did not add water. That is pure drippings. So here it is, guys, 4 recipes that I hope you will enjoy. Guys, don't forget to keep it on the simple side, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.